Welcome to today's episode of Speak on Stage. It's all based on asking the question, what do your audiences want? I'll be going through that and giving you answers and solutions as we're broadcasting and streaming live on LinkedIn. It's a LinkedIn audio event. It's being recorded, so if you're joining us, then hello. You'll be able to check out what you said, if it was good or bad or even ugly, on YouTube a little bit later, where we host all our podcasts after we create them. Meanwhile, hope you're enjoying everything that's coming ahead in this show. Yep, cool. This is Speak on Stage. And as if by magic, we go live. And instantly, as soon as we say hello, I can see Hisham's arrived and Gabor's arrived. Look at that. It's almost like we've opened the doors at some huge concert and said, yeah, Justin Bieber's about to come on stage. Come and get your space at the front and try not to throw stuff, because he gets upset and bursts into tears and runs off the stage. And Romy's joined us as well. This is great. I don't know. Is it because it's a Sunday? Is it because people are bored? Is it because they're just keen to come out to play? I'm not sure. Maybe it's because it's building up and people love what we do. But I sincerely doubt it. How are you, Debbie, and how are you, Aziza, today? Great.
I am
That's a great answer.
fabulous. Thank you.
We're good.
Fantastic. We've got a lot to talk about today. As always, we talk about the key subject, which is today how to give your audience exactly what they want. And that's going to be linked to what we talked about with our Turbocharge Your Career Challenge on WhatsApp, which is really about creating a lead magnet, but it's also going to be about working on the stage and giving your audience what they want. So I'll be talking about both of those elements in a few moments' time. Meanwhile, what I suggest to everybody, if you've just joined us, nice to see you. We've got 3 people in the audience, 3 people on stage. We normally end up with about something between 10 to 20 people coming out to play throughout the hour or so that we broadcast. But what makes a big difference is the ability to get people to come and join us now by just sharing that you're live. So if you go to wherever you found this post of where we are, it's got a share button. And all you need to do is just press on it and just say, come and join us. We're live now. And that way we get more people to come and join us. It means that they also have a bigger impact to get more people to come out to play. And there we go. Even though the audiences and the conversations can be quite intimate and where we go, it's nice to know that we can reach more people and invite them to the family as well. So I'm going to take a few moments to just basically share that we're going live and broadcast that. And that would be absolutely fantastic. Now, one of the things that we always do with this is we've got a number of questions that we do put together to the panel. We get various people who may join our panel, and we invite people to come and join us on stage, but we always have a certain rule about don't just go on and start telling everybody how great you are and what you did and all the rest of it. It's really about a brainstorming opportunity to find out more that we can about everybody. And Lydia's just joined us too. Lydia, you're my new best friend. I'm not sure whether you're stalking me or you're just coming to say hi, both of which are fine. Welcome to the group. I think it's the first time they've actually been in our live session, which is amazing. And Barry as well. Look at this. We just get and Debbie just kicked herself off the stage again because she's working from her phone because her laptop is not playing up to. Here's the thing. I work from a Mac. Which I'm not saying, oh, look, I work from a Mac, Mac, Apple Mac. It's because whenever I used to work from a laptop, and I used to go and do speaking events around the world, whenever I got on stage and I switched it on and went to plug it in, first thing it would do is get updates. So as soon as it would find an internet, it would suddenly start downloading stuff. I want to stop and start stuff. And of course, when you talk about doing a normal laptop, it wouldn't just be about the PowerPoint I was using. It'd be any app it could find. It would start uploading and downloading. And so it would freeze for about 15 minutes. So eventually I got sick of doing this in front of a live audience, and my wife turned around to me, like many things she says to me, and said, it's time for you to change. And I was like kicking and screaming because I was very much an Android guy, not an iPhone guy, and very much a traditional laptop rather than a Mac. So she said, go and get a Mac. So I treated myself to a Mac, and I never had the same problem again. It was so much easier just to switch it on and off. And you do get problems with a Mac. Lots of problems with Mac, but not the level I used to experience using PC. So I'm just saying that not because I'm paid by Steve Jobs, because he's not with us anymore, but whoever is at the helm this week at Apple, I'm just saying, is it Tim Scott is Apple? I think it is, isn't it? I'm just saying that Apple tends to be a lot easier to play with. I'm throwing it out there just in case you've got issues. There you go. Okay, so how's your week been, Debbie? What have you been up to? I know what we've been doing because we're just preparing for Eid, and that means we've had to have a spring clean of the entire house. And there's only one room that's not been done yet, and that's my office. And I daren't open the door to it and allow my wife and my daughter to come in and start throwing stuff away because there'll be nothing left in it. So how's your week been, including me?
Well, yeah, great that you guys are preparing for Eid. And should I not speak to yourselves and anybody else on the call beforehand? Eid Mubarak. Um, I have literally been struggling with your challenge this week. Well, I say struggling. I've managed to pull it off, but it was amazing. It really, really was. So I wanted to mention that that has been, and spending time with family. That
Fantastic.
has been my week.
If people don't know about the challenge, I'm going to ask Aziza to make sure that she puts all the links into the comment section. I should have done it earlier. They are actually in the details of today's broadcast, but they're not hyperlinks, so maybe she'll repost them. We have a group called the Turbocharge Your Career 5-Day Challenge. And there's about 400 people in the group. It does fluctuate because when we do certain challenges, people spit the dummy out and leave. And then new people say, can I join? And they come in and say, that's really difficult. Can I go away as well? And it just changes quite a lot. And so what we do is we work on helping people as a group for free to raise their game. And we give them challenges every month for about 5 days to be able to do stuff. And this is Aziza who created this one. It's not me. I'll happily go, yeah, it was me, but it wasn't really. Which is why the answers were so strict and the questions were so difficult because she knows more than me. It was all about creating a lead magnet for your business. So a lead magnet, and we talked about it at length last week, so I won't spend too long about it this week, is really how you create a digital gift, usually, of some description that's worth so much value that people will exchange their email to get a copy of it. So then you say, right, who would like to know how to speak on stage? I'll give you a pamphlet, how to be a rock star. There's an example. How to be a rock star in your business rock star. I'll give you a link. You go there, just register with your email, and then you can download this incredible PDF and then start working on it straight away. And it's an ethical bribe, but it works in order to get your audience from the platform that they're on, like LinkedIn or wherever it might be, into your mailing list. Now, you might ask the question, why would you do that? And good to see Rebecca joining us as well. The reason you want to do that is very simply, in most cases, platforms can disappear and sometimes get sold to billionaires or whatever it is, and suddenly you find the audience you've built up and a relationship you built up with them disappears with immediate effect overnight. And you want to kind of avoid that happening, because that means that if you've only got the contact details because you connected with them, you haven't got an audience anymore. You can't sell to them, you can't connect, you can't ask questions, and you can't be there to help their businesses. So as much as possible, you want to get people off that and into your mailing list. But we experienced this week that even for a short amount of time, WhatsApp went down, Instagram went down, and Facebook went down for various different reasons. But there are lots of businesses that have billions of dollars flying around the world that rely on these platforms. So every time that this happens, it does mean that some people are out of pocket, even during the short time that they went off. So that's why it's so important to be able to create a lead magnet and do something different with it. So that was last week's challenge, just to get it out of the way. Today is how to give your audience exactly what they want. So we're going to be looking at two ways of looking at it. One, which is to get your audience as in your general business audience, and one is a live audience in front of you in person. So, as always, we throw it open. We've got 1 hour to do this. We stop almost dead on 2 o'clock UAE time, which is different for different parts of the world. You can ask as many questions as you want. Don't make them daft. Otherwise, we go, you're daft. We don't really. We're very encouraging. Well, I sometimes do. But what we want to do is get you to come on stage, stick your hand up, and then just quickly ask a question or give a comment or help us brainstorm something, and you're always welcome to do that. Right, I'm going to run through the things that you need to know about working a live audience. I'm going to start off by working on a very simple principle, which is, what do your audiences want? Or what do your clients want? Because this has the same rules for whether you're working a live audience or whether you're working with an audience online or whether you're working with your clients. So first of all, imagine this. There's a buying process for every single person who connects with you, and this is probably true for you as well. The process is they ask themselves, what's my headache? What is it? What's the itch I want to scratch? And then they say, who can fix it? This is point number two. And then they say, point number three, right, that's for different people who are out there suggesting that I work with them. Which is the best fit of all of them? Then number four is, if I work with this particular one, will that headache disappear? Will my solution happen? Will the problem I've been dealing with disappear? And then once they've got that down to a narrow one or two people, then they ask a question, which is, can I get it cheaper than that person there? And if the answer is no, they will buy from you. Now, this is a buying process. This is what all clients are after. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that that's where all your audience is, but it is a very important top and down look at what the actual process is. So with a live audience, let's take it back to what I said. What's a live audience's challenge? How can I spend the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour getting the most out of that time in a way that's going to be rewarding for me? Who can fix it? Is that speaker going to be good, or should I actually just go onto my phone or go and have a coffee, or should I surf or check my social media? Then are they the best fit? What is the best fit? Well, with a live audience, that means when you start talking on stage, they want to see, is this person congruent? Now, what does congruent mean? It means that if they say they are very good at this subject, is it evident that they're going to be good at this subject? Here's a professor in anthropology. Does he look like a professor? Yes. Does he look like he's wearing a monkey suit? Yes. Ticks all the boxes. No. But the point is, congruence is, are they going to be able to be the best person to talk about what they say they're going to talk about? This happens in dating too, by the way. When you are meeting somebody on a Tinder date, not that me or my wife hopefully ever do, but one of the first things you do is you check to see whether that person is the same person that you expected them to be when they turn up. So if you're meeting somebody who calls themselves a millionaire and they turn up wearing like raggy clothes and sandals and so on, you're thinking this person might not, and then they won't buy a drink. You're thinking this can't be somebody who's super rich unless they're Scrooge. In which case, that's your own fault for swiping right, or is it left? I don't know, on Scrooge. So going back to the live audience, are they the best fit for me to sit here and pay attention to them? And if they do speak, will my headache disappear? So you try and get into that moment with them as they start speaking. As for getting it cheaper, am I wasting my time being here, or am I really getting something of value? What's in it for me is what they're thinking, and that's what every single client or audience everywhere, or partner or friend or child or dog is thinking. What's in it for me in every relationship? And if the answer is no, they will leave. Sometimes audiences will leave in front of you by getting up and going, and sometimes they'll leave but stay in front of you physically by going on holiday in their head and thinking, what am I having for dinner later? Or thinking about their social media, or maybe even checking on their phone as they're going. If the answer is yes, they will be there for your time to take in as much as they possibly can. And that's what you need to create with everybody, with your engagement on social, or you're speaking in front of a live audience, or even get people to sign up to want to work with you in your business. Debbie and Aziza, does that make sense? And also to the audience, if you put the thumbs up, that means that I'll kind of touched on the boxes and gave her tips. Is that okay?
100%. I mean, as always, key tips, and always keen to know how you appeal to your audience. Keep going, Dave. You're on a roll.
No, that's all I wanted to share. What I wanted to say now is Dave's talked for enough now. Dave's talked for a whole amount of seconds. So what I'm going to say is if anybody wants to ask a question on that subject or other subjects, then you're very welcome to put your hand up. And as long as you don't get abusive or go on forever and ever and ever about the same stuff, ideally for about a minute maximum, everyone gets a chance to talk. We've only got about a minute or so an hour to do this. If anybody wants to ask a question about audiences, how to get your audiences, how to work live audiences, or how to do more of your clients, that's kind of a theme today. So feel free to put your hand up and join us on stage, and we'd love to have you there and love to be able to get to introduce who we are to you and vice versa, because this is like a whole big happy family with different mums and dads.
Then I will start the ball rolling, and I will say, okay, so where do I get my audience?
Okay, great question. So I'm going to start off by saying to you, right now on your profile, LinkedIn, it says professional life and business coach. So if you narrowed it down, who are you actually coaching? Who do you want to coach? Who would look at that and go, oh, that's me. I want to work with that person. And if you haven't got them saying that, then are you not representing yourself properly? Is it the congruence isn't right?
Okay. I guess my clientele would be small business owners, small to medium business owners, so I could fine tune that somewhat.
Okay, let's stop there and ask you a question. In what industry?
In no particular industry, actually,
In that case, you've
because
got no particular audience.
no, as in I've worked with people who have create their own ceramics. I've worked with architects. I've worked with, so it's across the board. But it's more because working in the office, streamlining systems, that type of stuff.
Here's what I would suggest. Because I think it's important to have this in mind. It's very difficult sometimes to choose who your target audience is. I would aim at what I call the lowest hanging fruit in the garden. What can you easily reach up and pick and start eating? What your most favorite clients who just turn around and say, yeah, Debbie's amazing. I love working with her. It's so simple. She understands me completely. And so there's less of a convincing sales process for you that you have to convince them and chat to them. These guys just turn around and say, yes, I really want to work with you. Who would be those people?
Probably coaches, actually.
So you coach coaches.
I have been coaching coaches in the last 3 months. Yeah.
All right, here's a challenge. I'm going to throw it at you. And I don't know how many people would agree with this in the group, but often coaches don't have any money because they're not very good at marketing. So coaching them, yes, of course they love it and they love the fact they get that help. Can they afford your services? Often no, because their problem is marketing. What you really want is somebody who's got a headache, unless you are specifically the coach's coach. In which case, 100% position yourself as that. I know, for instance, Mary Henderson, who's a very dear friend of mine, and she was on our podcast a couple of weeks ago. She coaches coaches, and she basically makes them more visible. But they're generally successful anyway. They just want to appeal to a bigger audience and narrow down the reach that they need to have, so it has higher conversion rates and more focus. So throwing that at you, Debbie, and I hope everyone in the audience is getting value out of this, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments. Feel free to put your hand up and join us on stage with this whole thing. So if you position yourself as a coach's coach, would that be something that would allow you to have a steady stream of income, steady stream of clients, and a simple conversion rate?
Probably not. So, okay, so rather than using myself as an example, why don't we give an example of, let's say, I'm starting out in business and I would want to get myself out there. What would
Okay.
you recommend?
All right, great question. So, what do you want to make a hypothetical person? And we'll give him a hypothetical name. So, we've got John. Have we got John in the audience? No, we've got Joanne, but not John. All right, so John's come along. Hello, John. You've got a high voice. How's the operation going? Sorry, go on.
Okay, so John's come along and John basically wants to know how he's going to have more people listen to him, how he's going to have more people follow him, how he can get his name out there, how he can be an established speaker, that type of stuff.
Your voice is actually lower than John's. I'm just saying. So here's the thing: what industry is John in? Because that really matters.
John is still trying to find himself. So what advice would you give? I would say that he sees himself as a speaker of sorts. He just hasn't quite created the platform yet.
Okay, great example. Before I go into this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw it open to the audience. Does anybody want to be a live case study? Rather than we spend the time talking about a hypothetical person called John, do we have somebody in the audience who wants to actually just sit in the driver's seat and say, Dave, Debbie, Aziza, can you help me? I know that Hisham's saying that. Okay, Hisham, I know you can talk a lot. So I'll bring you on stage. Try not to talk too much, but very quickly introduce yourself. This is Hisham El Shabini. We go way back, actually. We've known each other for maybe 10 years and worked on many events together, rugby and international football. He's an incredible sports person. He's done TED Talks and a fitness coach and is a lovely guy. How are you, sir? I have to press the mute button to unmute. There you go.
Good morning. Morning, Dave. Aziza, very happy to hear your voice. Just a quick hello to everybody over here. I must say that Dave was the first person who actually listened to me when I first started my journey to become a speaker. He was the very first person who gave me his time and taught me a lot of tricks on especially how to ask for money when it comes to speaking gigs. So, Dave, I'm ever grateful for that. So thank you.
My pleasure. And we've done lots together, and we've done some big international events. We did beach soccer, which was streamed across the world with international teams, and you were doing the Arabic translation to that. And we've done lots of amazing stuff. So I know that you're a very good speaker, and you've had various businesses. Now, do you want us to answer your question on this? Is there a question that you wanted to throw in, or did you want to just go sort of share your thoughts on it?
Yes, actually, to give the audience what they want, I do actually. I'm dabbling into a new. Can you answer that? I'm dabbling into a new field. I mean, not a new field. I have a course where I'm training candidates to become flight attendants. Now, I have a bottleneck to reaching the right audience. I have an aviation background, as you know, and
Yep.
I created a course to get the people through the interviews, assessment days for different airlines in the GCC. Just to give a snapshot, the interview for airlines for a cabin crew takes about 8 to 10 hours of a grilling, exercises, psychological tests, human behavior, and logic, problem solving, and logic, and a lot of different tests. So I devised a course for that. Now I'm currently calling from Hurghada, Egypt, very sunshine city side, and I'm using TikTok as my mainstream to reach my audience. However, TikTok is a geo-fenced application, which means any advertisement that I pay to get my course or my live streams on, it's only limited to the physical country where I am. And unfortunately, Egypt, all the candidates or all the people aged from 21 till 30, the English language is not really perfect. So I got a lot of people who took my English test to vet them before they come into my course, and most of them fail. So I'm forging for new audience. What am I doing wrong?
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. First of all, I know that you're, as an ex-flight attendant, you know the industry very, very well, and you're a very great coach in what you do. I would say that first of all, I think that what you're doing on TikTok, without looking at it, is you're saying, "I am an expert at helping you to become." Are you saying to people, "I will help you to pass your exams," or "I'll help you become an airline steward or stewardess"?
More of the second one. The main message is how to become a flight attendant. I'm coupling that with lots of free videos, which has really a lot of tricks inside. But yes, to answer your question, yes, the main message is how to become a cabin crew.
Okay, so that's great. So when you're talking about it, is your audience every single airline, or is it specific to one particular airline?
Mainly GCC airlines, which is Etihad Airways, Emirates Airline, Qatar Airways, all around the GCC, not the Egyptian market, because these or Tunisia or something. We're talking mainly strictly GCC, which about 8 airlines.
Okay, so you've got 8 airlines. What would be your relationship with the airlines? Are they like to support you? Are they like to resist it? Are they like to say, "I don't care, do what you want"? Could you get any support from them, or you deliberately position yourself on the outside of them?
They wouldn't be me speaking because different airlines are different competitions. So I doubt that we'll have any support from a particular airline to do that. So no, there is no support expected from airlines. Again, I'm addressing about 8 different airlines.
Okay, so here's the thing. I know that there are a lot of people, females predominantly, but a lot of male and females who would love to be working as flight attendants. But if you throw out on social media who wants to be a flight attendant, you're walking out into a shopping mall and shouting who wants to be a flight attendant. Now in a shopping mall, you've got mums, dads, kids, teenagers, but there's a certain specific audience you really know are the ideal audience, which would be, I'm guessing, aged 21 to 30, qualified maybe to degree level, but doesn't have to be, with some kind of hospitality experience, who wants to travel the world, smart enough, and possibly has languages. Is that about right for your average perfect client?
That exactly the criteria. The minimum requirement is the high school, but then again, they have to be fluent in English in order to, to communicate, because that's the main airline languages. Language.
Okay. So here's my thoughts. You need to go. It's like when you watch these discovery programs on Netflix or whatever. There's a thing called the watering hole, and the watering hole is typically where all the animals go to eat and drink. But they all go at different times, and they all go with a distance from each other, so they don't all get eaten at the same time. You need to find where the watering holes of the clients are that you're looking at. If they're looking for stuff online, if they're looking for stuff in person, is there a place where they hang out where you can get access to them? Is it that the ones who fail then go and do something else? Typically, can you recruit them from there? So, for instance, if you're a failed air hostess or flight attendant, we'll change the word to that. Do you then try and get a job in a hotel? In which case, should you be recruiting from hotels or from bar staff or from, I don't know, university degrees? You know, I know that there are companies who actually do the same kind of thing that you do, and they kind of recruit in person. But the thing is, are you in the wrong place to recruit English speakers? Are you looking to get, if you're based in Egypt, Egyptian English speakers? Or are you looking for people outside of that? And are you looking to do online? Or are you looking to do in-person coaching? Or both?
Yeah, I guess again, being in Egypt, yes, this is not a strong point to have the English language. So being outside, like if I'm in Dubai, again probably the bottleneck is going to be maybe TikTok because it's geofenced. But yes, as long as the person have a good command of English and they look presentative, then in this case with the age brackets, then they can become a cabin crew with the correct training. So yes. I think I'm going off topic of your main
No, not at
of your.
all. This is interesting because I think we're taking it from scratch about your audience. Because we'll get a resolution on this. I mean, Egypt's a massive country. Not everybody speaks English, but there will be some people who do. Are they most likely to be university graduates? Are they like to be nurses? Are they like to work in hotels? Where would be the type of person that you want that speaks English most?
I guess the again with the country because it's a developing country, so those who have the luxury of having a good English command, they're probably going to be graduated from either from a like an AUC, for example, the American University of Cairo, or at least if they have high school, then at least they have been to a foreign or an English school, so they have the correct education, and that of course comes with a correct mindset and mentality to be able to grasp what is it to become a cabin crew.
Right, here's what I would do, and we'll cut this in a moment because I know there's other questions people want to ask. I would start with those places, and I would talk to them. I'd have an in-person chat with the decision makers, and go and do a presentation. Would you like to know how to join the airlines? I will show you how. And go in person because you're very strong in person. But you can also create a series of videos on a web page that people can go and watch. Share them across the board. I still think that LinkedIn might be your audience as well. And you make it very simple. Want to become a flight attendant? Contact me. Let me show you how, and then see what your audience responds to.
Okay, and with regards to going in physical, you're talking about approaching the university itself. But if
Well, yeah, go and kiss a lot of frogs. Go and talk to a lot of different places until you get a response. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many you talk to. It only matters how many come through. I know Debbie wants to make a comment on this. Debbie, what do you think?
Hi, Hisham. Great question.
thank you.
I actually feel that you are underestimating your online, basically free global promotions. You're underestimating online social media, which can appeal to any market anywhere. So once you've classified the fact that, or once they've passed their adequate English, it doesn't necessarily have to be on TikTok, does it?
No, it doesn't. The reason I limited myself to TikTok for a couple of things. Number one is the audience or the water hole, as Dave says, for the this age bracket is TikTok. The second thing is TikTok makes it so much easy to go on live streams, and I just plug in my laptop and I have a lot of visuals on TikTok. And the other reason as well is that the I didn't want to spread myself thin doing on many or more than one social media. Like, for example, if I go on YouTube, then I don't have the enough time or energy to do several platforms at the same time.
Oh no, fully understand that. I'm just thinking that if you know that TikTok is limited solely to what country you're in, so at the moment that would be Egypt,
Correct.
perhaps look at something that you can utilize TikTok's presence to send people somewhere else for your videos. Just a thought, as there is a lot of people who I'm sure would love to change their profession and would love to take this a little bit further.
Could you repeat the last insight again, input? Could you again explain it to me?
Sorry, say if you could repeat that.
Could you please repeat what you just said again? I just want to grasp it one more time. What you're
Okay, but basically what I'm saying is that there is a whole world out there that could be utilizing your expertise and your knowledge on a platform outside of TikTok. If when you promote, you're only promoting to Egypt.
Yes, because I'm forced to only be limited to Egypt.
Right, I'm gonna jump in here because I want to make sure we get lots of other people on Hisham, and we're friends anyway. So I know you won't take it the wrong way. Here's what I suggest: create your content, put it on TikTok. Also, LinkedIn is starting to create LinkedIn Shorts, which is a bit like YouTube has done. Just experiment, create strong, long and short content, and bung it everywhere, and see what bites. And it's a campaign. It's literally a matter of time until somebody bites. Find out where they are, what brought them to you, and then reproduce that. Do more and invest in that particular area. That's what I'd say. I'm happy to have this as a conversation, but I also want to make sure that we look after everybody else who's in the group as well. Hisham, I'm sure you appreciate that too, bud.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you so much. Right then, throwing it to the audience.
Thank
We've
you.
got people who are there. Good to see lots of friends. Our Master's there, Istak's there, Joanne as well, of course, Barry, Gabor, Tamrat, Lydia, Rebecca, and I've just really got names now, Romy. Does anybody want to ask a question based on the idea of looking after audiences and grabbing more audiences? One of the things that's really effective, as you may have noticed as well, is creating a podcast around what you do. I had a conversation with a friend the other day who was saying, oh, you don't make any money from podcasts. That's not the point. It's marketing. It's creating a mini radio station for your audience to prove your expertise. And if you're not talking about your own particular expertise, then bring on experts to talk about their expertise, because that will by default mean that people think that you knew that anyway. It's one of the things about writing a book. Now, I've got a book coming out now called The Thought Leader's Playbook, which should be available shortly. He keeps saying that, but it will be. And one of the things is, and I've had this from various people like Jack Canfield and many other friends who are authors, they say, look, when you release a book, people then hire you to then help them with their problems. And you're probably thinking, well, why? Because I've got the book now. No, what happens is people believe that the stuff in the book isn't everything. You just put a little bit of it down. Even if you put everything you know in the book, they still come to you directly. So writing a book is a really effective way. Having a podcast is an effective way. Social media is good, but the problem is it disappears from the platform so quickly that if people don't catch it at this moment in time, or you can't afford or don't want to spend any money on advertising, it can disappear quite easily. That's why the lead magnet is so effective, because what we could have said to Hisham is on last week's session, in fact, Hisham, you should really join our Turbocharge Your Career 5-day challenge. Create a lead magnet for anybody who wants to go into the airline business and pass their exams, have that on a website, and all you do is send people to that. That's all you do. A lead magnet, a PDF with a welcome video of you telling people what they need to know. And then if you want to know more than that, they get in touch with you. Here's the thing, and I'm not just saying it to Hisham, I'm saying to everybody in the group. When you do this kind of stuff, don't tell people how to fix everything. Just talk about what their problems are. And they go, yeah, you're right. That's so true. That's a big headache I've got. Oh my goodness, you're so right. And then you say, right, I can help you fix it. Come and talk to me directly, and then you upsell them to whatever you need. If you tell them everything they need to know immediately, why do they need to work with you? Why not just shop around and get somebody cheaper? So that's why you really share with people what the challenges are so they know that you're the right choice when it comes to coaching or buying your products or services. I hope that makes sense, even though I've probably let the cat out of the bag as well. Okay, over to Debbie. Did you want to say something on this?
Yeah, sorry. Just wanted to say that this challenge this week, I think a lot of people would have really, really benefited from it, because it was, Aziza took you through, people pay for this stuff. That's why it was gold. It was literally starting the thought process behind the lead magnet, then going on to compiling it. And it was fabulous. I mean, I can see Joanne in the audience. She won the challenge this week, so
Did.
she got an even amazing prize. So well done, Joanne. But yeah, no, it really was good. It thought provoking. We were pushed out of our comfort zone, and I mean, I know I was like the last entry and just kind of threw something together, but I was just chuffed with the fact that I'd managed to get to that part and then have since been fine tuning it. But absolutely fabulous. I would strongly recommend that more people join the
Absolutely.
monthly challenges.
That's so true. And for everybody, by the way, as well as liking this particular live session, which is useful, and giving a comment, which also helps us to get it out to more people, there are lots of different options for you, whether you want to work with us directly or you want to hire Aziza's service. Aziz, the session that we did this month, which was last week, was how to create a lead magnet. This is what my wife Aziza does all the time. She does it for us as a business, but she does this for other clients as well. She's got a business that runs that. So if you're thinking, I don't know how to do it, I'm a coach, or I've got a small business, or I don't know how to get more clients, just by showing people my expertise, there is a system, and the system is set up so if you're a small business and your time is super precious and you don't have time to knock on lots of doors, don't do that. Send people to the one place and get them to sign up. Get the lead magnet, which tells them all about your business and services and products, and then while they're enjoying that, you've got them in a relationship where you can nurture them. In fact, what we're going to be doing in the next Turbocharge Your Career 5-day challenge is talking about the use of emails. I think we're going to be looking at the nurturing emails you need to create to get people to buy into you, buy into your products and services, and want to buy from you directly. Is that what we're doing, Aziza? I'm not sure, because we talked about that. We're going to discuss it after today's session. Is she unmuting? No, she's not. Okay, well, anyway, that's kind of what we're discussing.
No, there's a thumbs up. There's a thumbs up. So yes, that is in line with what you are going to be doing next.
There we go. Good job of a telepath. I'm not really a hypnotist, but anyway. So, do we have somebody in the audience who wants to ask another specific question relating to the stuff that we're talking about? This is all about how to get your audience, how to discover your target audience, how to get them to buy into you and do more with you. Or is everybody just happy and saying, oh, you know what? Every time I open the front door to my shop, it's just full of people and they're buying everything. I haven't even got time to go on holiday. It's just so amazing. If you have a challenge with audiences, whether they're live or whether they're ones that you're creating or cultivating to your products, if you just started out or if you've been going for a long time, then feel free to put your hand up and come and join us on stage. Similarly, if you have a question that you'd like to ask us while we're live and broadcasting, we've got about 25 minutes left of this actual broadcast. We do record this session, and so anybody who's arrived late, then feel free to go and watch the full thing, which will be on YouTube later on, and I'll post the link on this particular comment section and also within various groups, including our one, which is on WhatsApp at Turbocharge Your Career 5-day challenge. Do we have any questions? Otherwise, I will talk about audiences. But I'd like to make it like a clinic so we can help you with your particular challenges and thoughts that you might like to be able to share with the audience. Don't worry, everything that happens in LinkedIn stays on LinkedIn. So it's very private with about 1 billion people who are paying attention to all the challenges that you shouldn't. I shouldn't say that. It's making everyone embarrassed. But there you go. Let me tell you a couple of things, by the way, because we're building up our podcast at the same time. If you haven't checked out the podcast, this particular season has been me interviewing big hitters. And so I've been getting out my digital Rolodex, which shows my age. What's a Rolodex, Dave? I don't know. Why is it a digital, it's a phone, and contacting some of the biggest hitters I've seen when I've worked on stage with them. And so over the last couple of weeks, you'll have met, if you wanted to anyway, Raymond Aaron, who's just an incredible speaker who can go onto a stage and 90 minutes later make between $300,000 and $500,000 out of that audience just by sharing with them his story and getting them to sign up to stuff. We talked to Dave Ulrich last week, I think it was. Dave Ulrich is the world's #1 HR specialist. He's called the godfather of HR, and he was talking about how companies can pivot and thought leaders should be considering where they position themselves. The next one that we have is, I can't even begin to tell you how incredible this guy is, Dov Baron. He's the #1 listened to podcast from Fortune 500 companies, the #1 in the world, by the way. And we talked, I pre-recorded it by talking to him over the weekend to make sure that we don't have any blips or things that freeze. So it's in the can, it's been edited, it's going to be broadcasting live on Tuesday. But we talked about, why do authoritarian leaders win? And why is it that so many people haven't recovered from the pandemic? And what is it you have to do to create happiness every single day of your life? And why is it that we haven't gone back to some kind of new normal after the pandemic? All those questions have incredible knowledge that Dov shares. So if you're not paying attention to the podcasts, please do. So I bring it up not just as a shameless plug for the podcasts, but also the fact that what do those podcasts do? They go out and they represent me. They position myself and the connections I have and thought leadership, which is the area that I talk about. And so they go out like fishing nets for me and share with people what they need to do. So what I'm talking about for you is there are lots of different ways to raise your game, get new audiences, and just tell people what it is that you do really well. And if you're not a great speaker, talk to great speakers and interview them on your podcast. If you don't have a podcast, then be a guest on other people's who have a target audience that already is made by them. And all you need to do is go on and offer some kind of gift. Go to this website, have a look at this QR code, scan it, and you can get a free gift. Doesn't matter. That's where the lead magnet comes in. If you got it set up, it's much more effective and easy to convert. So that's why I brought them up, plugging my podcast because it is kick-ass, but also I think it'd be very useful for you to also check it out, and it's on YouTube for you to watch too. Okay, so any questions from people in the audience? Because we've got 10 people there, and they're either watching Netflix with the sound down and listening to us, or they forgot to switch off, or they're just busy writing notes frantically and saying, Dave, no, keep talking. I'm making notes out of everything you're saying. Okay, so Debbie, I'm going to throw it at you because Aziza, I think, is meditating and making notes as she goes. How important do you think it is for being able to create an online presence and an in-person presence? Because I've worked with a lot of people at conferences and events all around the world, and I find that some of these incredible speakers are great, and that's great to have them, but in most cases, they're very good at creating content. So they could be YouTubers, they could be writers, they could be business owners, or they could be professors, but they're terrible on stage. And it's a case of getting that all to come together. And I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges that happen for most people, is being congruent, but also proficient at being in person and also being online. So what you need to do with this, I'm throwing it open to Debbie to jump in anytime that she's ready to join in with.
Yeah, sorry. Just to recap the question. The question was, what do I think about global presence?
Well, it's more about the importance of being able to speak in person as well as being able to deliver online. So wherever people find you, they instantly go, that's the person I want to be able to work with. Because I find that a lot of people, when they do speak in front of an audience, are kind of weedy and disappointing. And you go, right, I'll just read the book because I was disappointed by that. Even though the genius is, they're not very good at selling themselves on stage. And so when we're talking about a session like this, about how to get your target audience, I think that nurturing your target audience is important. Now, you have already said you get coaches that love to work with you, you've got clients that love to work with you. What is your secret to make them go from potential suspects to actual clients?
Honestly, I would say it's being authentic. It's being authentic and being creative with how you tell your story. That's the reality of it. because your story is what everybody is getting attached to. It's what everybody feels that they are relating to. So, in short, people will come to you as strangers, then they'll follow you for a little bit, they'll pay attention to what you're doing. I mean, my LinkedIn presence is not as big as elsewhere, but it literally is about telling your story, being authentic with it, and having people relate to you.
It's so true. And it's that nurturing process. So they effectively go from being cold leads who have no knowledge of you, who you are, but they just kind of come across you. Then you've got to nurture that relationship. So as they deep dive into your content or they check out, and this is before they even interact with you at all, you don't even know they exist. They turn from warm potential leads into actual buyers, and buyers usually happens after they've done a lot of work behind the scenes to see who you are, what you do. They also want to see testimonials. They also want to, I mean, I think it's a was it 4711, I think it is. Daniel Priestley was talking about this with his Key Person of Influence books about how to become oversubscribed, and he was saying that one of the things that you need to be able to do is you need, before somebody buys from you, they need to find you in 4 different places. They need to spend, I think, 7 hours with you on content. So that could be listening to your podcast, watching your videos, or sitting with you in a coffee shop. They need to have you 4 different places, 7 hours with you, and on 11 different platforms. So that could be online, it could be reading about you, it could be getting referrals. There's a the numbers aren't exactly right there. It might not be 4711, it might be 4117 or something. But what it comes down to is buyers very rarely buy from you immediately. They want to be able to do some homework on you. And so in the car industry, they don't often try and sell a car to the person that walks into the building. They know that that person might not buy immediately. So if they can just capture the details of that person, like their email and their contact details, then they can send them stuff which will be enthusiasm about that car. So you're interested in a Tesla. Let me send you some insider information about Teslas. Let me show you a video of people driving Teslas. Let me have lots of different things. So what happens is those numbers of different platforms, whether it's a podcast or it's a video or it's come to a showroom, we're going to have an open day, you can have a look at one, you can drive around in one. All these different touch points are created. So later on in their own time, somebody says, I've had enough. That's it. Let me buy it. I've done all the heavy lifting. So that means that you don't have to. That's why it's so important to utilize these different digital platforms to create all these different ways of reaching people. So we've got about 15 minutes left. I've been talking for quite a long time, and Debbie has been joining in, which is fantastic. Questions to the audience, because this is your opportunity to join in and be part of this particular conversation. If you have got a question, if you would like to say something, if you would like to know more about what it is that we've gone through so far, all you have to do is just raise your hand. It's one of the buttons that you've got on the bottom of your phone or on your laptop, and then ask to join us on stage. I'll be more than happy to be able to get you up and ask your questions. I know we've got a couple of people in the audience who normally do come up and contribute to us. So I'm just wondering if you're just busy having your breakfast, which is a possibility, because there's different time zones and different things happening. I know Almas has joined us, but what usually happens is I'll bump into these people later and say, oh, Dave, I was going to jump on. It was just so noisy. I couldn't switch on my phone without you were hearing where I was. I was in a hair salon, or I was in a shopping mall. I was at a football match, or I was underwater scuba diving, and there's no way I could do it. Are there any speakers in the audience? Anybody who's an actual speaker who would like to know about how to get more of a paid audience? Sorry, Debbie, go on.
I would actually like to shine a light on a member of our audience, Romy. If you recall, he joined us some weeks back, if not a month or so ago. If he would like to come up and just engage further.
Well, there you go. Come on down, as they say in The Price is Right, if that show's still going. I don't know, it's been 30 years since last saw it. Romy, would you like to join us on stage and share your knowledge and expertise, or even your particular position, and see what we can help you with, or even just maybe something that you can share that will help the audience? And feel free to do that. There you go, puts his hand up. Well done to Debbie. Your eagle eyes just checking out the people. Remember, we stop in about 15 minutes, guys. So if you want to come and join us after that, it's too late. My wife sends a message saying, right, I'm going to pull the plug and everything, and that you miss out after that. So, Romy, that's Romy and Bar. Tell us about yourself, and do you have a particular question or thought that you'd like to add to this conversation? You have to unmute. There's a mute button bottom right of your screen.
Yeah,
There you go.
can you hear me?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm so excited to be on stage here. I just wanted to listen today, but I'm so grateful there before asking me to come up. I'm so excited. Don't mind. I was doing my exercise today. Then I had to remember that no, I have this event to attend. So I came to attend because this is one of the things I love talking about, how to actually serve humanity. Yeah, because if you're giving to people what they want, you're serving humanity no matter what you're doing, be it a service, be it a product you're selling. Yeah. My name is Romy. I'm from Cameroon, presently in the UK. This is my fourth week in the UK. I'm a brand specialist, a creative director. I'm a marketing strategist, a storyteller. Uh, I'm working on becoming a professional keynote speaker. This is my 400th event as of 2023. Yes, 400 events on LinkedIn, and I've acquired a lot of knowledge and also being a member of Mr. Dave's group on WhatsApp. His community has impacted my life in many ways. Yes. I also work on camera confidence. I help CEOs on how to build camera confidence, content creators on how to build camera confidence so that they can be able to approach their audience in the right way. I also help people convert their stories into a product, into a service that can actually be consumed by the people or bought by the people.
Right,
So I just came up
Romy,
to
I'm going to
say,
jump in because this is just becoming a big fat advert. So here, I want to throw you a challenge, right? I love what you've shared. I love what it is you say you do. You talked there about business storytelling and about the challenges that you face when you got people about how then to turn what their story is into something that their clients would be interested in. What are your insights? What do you share? What would people need to know about that? Because business storytelling is like a martial art in advertising and marketing, and most people get it completely wrong. What's your thoughts on it?
yeah, a little bit about my story. A little bit about my story. When I lost my company in 2021, closing 2020, entry 2022, a 6 years old company, I had to leave my country. So when I left my country, I went to Nigeria. From Nigeria, I moved to Togo. I lost my employees and everything. I was faced with a lot of trauma. But then I found out that if you give up, you lose everything you've been able to achieve in terms of lessons you've learned from your stories. I never gave up. I pick up my broken pieces. I try to understand that we are imperfectly perfect. So I decided to create a brand called DRO, Director Romy, with the slogan "No Limits." So as my story moves on, I want to convert my story into a product that is going to be consumed by everybody on this planet Earth. I don't know how to put this.
Can I jump in? Can I jump in? Because you've just mentioned a lot.
Please comment.
Right. I'm going to say something now, and please do not take it the wrong way. Nobody cares. Now, I'm not saying it that nobody cares because I want to insult you. I want to say that nobody cares about me. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about anybody else. They only care what's in it for them. So what you need to do is you need to take all the experiences you've had, all the things you've mentioned, everything, put it all to one side, and then wade through and say, who can learn from my experience, my challenges? Who are those people? What would they want? And also, there's a question to throw at yourself before you do any of this stuff. Can they pay for my services? Now, there's nothing wrong with being a charity. There's nothing wrong with giving stuff out there. But if you're living in a cardboard box and all your clients aren't, then somewhere has gone wrong along the way. So I think you need to go back and work out what it is that you need to do to work with your audience, what they need from this. And the challenge is, and I'm not meaning to disrespect about the experiences you've been through, I promise you, there's everybody in this room, even the people in the audience, can tell us so many things that are harrowing, challenging stories. But it's not fine. It's difficult, and there's lots of empathy involved. But what can you do for them that's going to make that headache go away? Remember what I said at the very beginning of today's session. You know, you've got a client has got a headache, and they're looking for somebody to fix it. What's the best person who can fix it? What can they do? How much will it cost? Is there anybody can be cheaper? No, in that case, that's what I'm going to buy. And that's the tough questions you need to throw at yourself, because right now I think that you're still within you and you're looking at your challenges, which I'm not saying are small, but I think that's the wrong way to get clients to convert. Does that make sense? It's all gone quiet now. It's like tumbleweed coming through. Romy, have I insulted you? Are you upset with me?
I'm not upset with you. It's just how I messed up today. You know, some days are not good days, some days are not bad days. Yes, what I'm doing now to share my story is building a community where people come together to actually learn on how to combat trauma and how to bounce back when they face challenges in their businesses. And building this community is going to help a lot of people know what they can give to their audience and know how to face their audience when they are facing challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, Romy. I really appreciate that. And keep us posted with everything and let us know what we can do to help leave you on that journey. That's Romy. I really appreciate that. Rebecca's just joined us on stage. Rebecca, how are you? We've not talked for ages. We were going to do incredible business in America. And then you said, I'll get back to you. And you never did. How are you, Rebecca? Oh, you've gone quiet on me. Oh, no, it's my internet.
The difference.
There we are. Back again. Hello, Rebecca.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, so I'd like to hear your feedback on the difference between speaking on camera and speaking on stage. So I find, I'm doing these TikTok videos, but there's no one I'm connecting with. I'm effectively just talking into the ether space, right?
Yep.
So what's a trick to feel, should you put a video of a live audience behind your camera that you feel you're talking to someone, or how can you change that to become more authentic and that you feel you're connecting with a audience, which you can't see?
That's a brilliant question, and one that most people get wrong, and many professionals get this wrong. I'll give you an example. Have you ever listened to a radio station and you got the DJ coming on, and the DJ says, "How are you guys doing? Great to join you." And you're going, "Guys, I'm in my car. There's somebody in the back of the car I don't know about." And what we do is they suddenly make you feel that we're not talking to you anymore. We're talking to too many people, and it doesn't feel personal anymore. And so suddenly you're looking for somebody who is talking to you directly. Have you ever had that experience, Rebecca?
Yeah, that's interesting. So you're making the point that you actually have to make it personal when you are talking on camera,
Right.
as opposed to when you're in front of a big audience.
I'll explain more on this. I just wanted to give that as an example. When you're doing radio, when you're doing podcasts, when you're doing TV, which I will then include as doing live videos, it's a one-to-one medium. You are talking to one person, so you work out who that avatar is, that target audience. Is it a little old lady sitting there drinking a cup of tea and eating biscuits? Is it a young, cool, trendy person in a suit who's going from A to B in the car? And we're just going, right, okay, let's just check out some stuff. Maybe they're in a waiting room. Maybe they're waiting to go on a meeting. Is it a mum who's looking after their kids and waiting to pick them up from school? Whoever your target audience is, you talk to them as a one-to-one. Now, here's the thing. When you've got an audience like we have now in front of us, we've got lots of people in the audience. I am talking to the group. So I have to actually talk to a number of different people on different levels. So let me explain this. I mean, if I haven't explained everything, then I think that I'd love you to come back to this, because this is a massive challenge. So when I'm on a live stage, and I'm talking to an audience on a live stage, especially when COVID had happened, there were about 7 or 8 different audiences I was speaking to at one time. So imagine this. I'm on a stage. First audience is I'm talking to the people in front of me, sitting in chairs in front of me. That's audience number 1. Second audience is I've also got a panel behind me who I'm talking to, because they're the ones answering all the questions. And so I've got to look after them. That's number 2. Number 3, I've got an events manager who's making sure that I stick to schedule. They're getting the next presenter ready. I've got to make sure I speak to them so they know that I'm on the point. I'm not ignoring. Sometimes I'm just looking up at them to check that they're nodding or they're not looking stressed. So that's number 3. Number 4, I'm looking at the fact that we're streaming live. So there's a camera somewhere in the room with an audience at home. So I've got to make sure I talk to them as well as talking to the audience in front of me. The great thing for that is when I talk to the audience in front of me, whatever their reaction is what the person at home will feel. So therefore, whenever you're watching TV, if the audience boos somebody, you instantly feel a boo as well. If they cheer, then you cheer. That's why when you see, X Factor or Britain's Got Talent or America's latest whatever singer, then when whatever the audience does, that's how you feel and you get excited. And that Wi-Fi code that they tap into is really important. Then on top of that, what number have I got to? Number 4, number 5? Anyway, the next one is the sponsors. So you got sponsors who are paying for the event to happen. They just want it to be successful. They want to get their name on top of it. They have their own part of the marketing that they want to make sure that the whole vehicle works really well, so they didn't throw their advertising dollars down into the bin. Then on top of that, and I think we've got to number 6 or 7 here, the next audience is yourself. You have to make sure that you've got this ongoing chat with yourself to make sure that you are on point. And then the last audience to think about is the audience that are going to be paying attention to the content afterwards. Are you going to be able to sell what you did on stage to a third party by showing them on social media, this is me and this is what I do? Now that's a live event. So when you're talking to camera, I want you to think about, who am I talking to on a one-to-one? Am I talking to them in front of me, and who is that person? Am I talking to potential sponsors who would want to then turn around and put money into my broadcast and sponsor my podcast or my shows or something? Am I talking to a person that's going to take action like a B2C, or am I talking to an organization that wants to hire my services, in which case it's a slightly different way of positioning yourself? Am I looking for somebody whose friend has got a problem, who can then pass these videos on to them, and they can understand exactly what it is that we're looking at? Now, that's a lot of ways of answering that question, but I knew that I leave a gap for you to come back and say, no, Dave, I only wanted to say about one particular thing. Rebecca, where are we on this answer?
That was very good. So generally, I would summarize that as being aware of all the stakeholders when you're presenting, not just the audience in front of you. And then on camera, do you have a physical tip for me? So
Yes.
when I'm staring at this camera, and I have my stakeholder in mind, that one person who I'm targeting to, how can I, for myself, make it more personal, as if they're sitting there? I find it quite hard to just imagine someone sitting there.
Right, I'm going to answer this question, but before I do that, I know that Debbie wants to jump in with something. So over to you, Debbie. What do you want to say on this one?
Hi, Rebecca. I just wanted to share what I find is what I find is most comfortable for me, and what I find gets the most traction from the different videos that I put out there. Is I will talk to the camera like I'm talking to either myself or a good friend. Where you just kind of slow it down. You're waiting for their response, but at the same time, you are getting that information out there without effort. That is a method which I have found works really well for me, and I found that I get a lot of traction from that kind of approach.
And when you say talking to yourself, are you effectively looking at yourself on camera and talking to yourself? How do you do it?
Okay, so initially I used to literally be looking at myself on the camera. So it would be an app that would be looking back at me. But then I found that as I was gaining more confidence in the whole process, I would basically be looking at the camera or be looking like past the camera. So you're looking at the little pinhole, or you just kind of losing yourself in the gaze. So it also looks non-specific.
Right, can I jump in with this? Because there's an answer to this one, which is very specific on it, which is when the mistake that most people make is when they're working on their phone and talking to their phone, they're looking at their own picture and talking to that. But your eyes on your own picture are not the same as the eyes of the audience. The audience is in the camera. So that tiny little pin, that you've got to work out where the camera is. You might have to look at it a couple of times to get it right. The little camera on your phone, which you might not even be able to see properly, is what you need to look at. Now, while you're doing that, it means that you've got to have a different awareness because you're not really looking at the rest of the picture. So if somebody comes up behind you and then like taps you on the head, then you probably shouldn't notice that happening. Apart from at the corner of your eye, you may be keeping an eye on the other screen too. Now, you can look around and look back and so on, but really it's looking into that lens that makes it happen. So the same as when you speak to a live audience, if you don't like looking at people's faces in the audience, look at a gap between heads and move around a bit, because then people feel that you are talking to them. Now, I see that Romy wants to join us on stage. Rebecca, did that answer your question? Sorry, Debbie, I jumped over your conversation. Does that answer that question about where do you look and who do you talk to?
Yeah, that gives some great things to think about and to implement. Thank you.
Okay, I'll throw into it. I know Romy wants to say something on this. Debbie's absolutely right about being conversational, about the fact that you want to be the genuine version of you, not necessarily a stepped up. Be a better version of you than you would normally be if you don't care, but be enough of you so when people actually get to talk to you, they go, oh, you're so the same in person. That's amazing. So it's like, for instance, if you're going for a job interview, you wouldn't turn up in just ripped jeans and so on, unless that's a ripped jean job you're going through. You do step up to the mark, because there's an energy transferal. When you engage an audience, they need to be able to feel that spending time with you, you've raised their game. So, for instance, if I'm talking about, it's we've got a show on a Sunday and we're just chilling. Not that I ever talk like that anyway, but you have to raise your game, and that's what has an impact with people. I know that Romy wants to jump onto this and say something because he's clearly making videos as well. Romy, what's your thoughts on this?
Thank you so much. And I love this because I have an event that is coming up, a free event on how to be confident in front of the camera. Working with artists and CEOs for 7 years, one of my key tips that I give to them, look at yourself in the mirror before going in front of the camera. Look at yourself in front of the mirror. Give yourself positive affirmations before going in front of the camera. Feel comfortable. Do not be a perfectionist. You have to accept your imperfections before going in front of the camera. Sometimes work with your mind, trick your mind. Take your cologne. Is it your perfume? Put it on. Put on your perfume and feel confident. That is a trick before going in front of the camera. You have to know your audience. When you know your audience, you know how to approach them, know your material, what you're giving in. You have to practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Romy.
Can I also add?
Go on, Debbie.
Go on. No, can I also add to that because it's on a camera, it's not a live event. You can practice as many times as you want until you feel that you've got the shot that you need.
That's very true. Unless you're live streaming, like we are now, in which you need to get better at doing it. There's a couple of things I'd throw in with that. First of all, because we're talking about one-to-one, effectively when you're doing a stream or a broadcast or even radio, it's the same thing as well. What you can do is practice having a conversation just with yourself in the car. So as you're talking, when you're driving around in a car, somewhere where people are going to think you're going a bit crazy, you can drive around and answer questions and present a show for people in the car. So I wouldn't say actually do it live because that's got a whole load of problems that you really don't want to tap into. But you could drive along and say, hi, welcome to the show. I want to share with you a couple of different ideas and I think it'll be very useful for you. If you've got questions, then feel free to contact me. I'm going to start today's show by talking about this. And you can have a whole dialogue and mock up the show as you go. Practice it in your head. Say it out loud. So say it out loud or say it in your head. You can do it all the time. So when you actually turn on the camera, you're not doing it from scratch from the first time ever. You're just doing what you've already practiced many times on your own. And it's much easier to do it. Now, you can get things wrong. People don't mind. They want you to be human. I mess things up a lot, quite often, and I just go through and I carry on because I know that what I do will be okay in the end, and people want you to be human, and it's just basically the way they want it to be. So I would say don't over practice, but know your material. Make it so it's conversational, and make sure that you get feedback from your audience as you go. And the best feedback you can get is, are they still there? If you have 10 bullet points to share with people and you only give 5 bullet points, people don't necessarily know that there's 5 missing unless you said 10 at the beginning. So you could say, in fact, I did it today with Rebecca. I was just chatting there, Rebecca, about I gave you 7 or 8 different potential people that you're talking to, and I lost count halfway through because I'm talking live. I haven't got anything in front of me to write it all down. Did I mess it up? Maybe. Did it stop the value coming across? No, not at all. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. But what I would say is, depending on who your client is, what your target is, what your products and services are, those people will be judging you as you go. So those people, if you're trying to sell specifically, just do a little bit of homework and preparation, but then make it so you're having a conversation with them. And I think that you'll get better at it, at doing it. Your audience isn't judging you to see if you're a perfect broadcaster. That's not why they want to work with you. That's why podcasting is kicking the ass of radio and TV and so on, because people want experts. They want somebody who can just be human and tell me what I need to know. And if I want to know more, I'll go to them and I'll pay them for that service. Does that help, Rebecca? Does that tick all the boxes and answer questions?
Yeah, that's great, and I see you do it with all the energy, as if there's someone on the other side of the table when you speak, and that's what I'm looking at and thinking, how can I get myself more authentic when I'm talking into empty space, and I think you've given a lot of tips here.
Thank you. And also, I mean, you're creating a relationship with your audience. If your audience really likes what you're doing, they'll come back to you and ask you. And a lot of the time, they can make notes. I mean, what we do is certainly is when we do our podcasts and so on, there's subtitles that come up, so people can write stuff down if they want to, or they can get AI to give a summary of whatever that person says. Or when you're doing your podcasts or your videos, in the notes that you put, you can give them the bullet points and a call to action. So there's a science behind everything. You are just a voice piece, but what happens is, to create that relationship with your audience, once they've started to like you and once they've enjoyed the experience of spending time with you, they won't want to work with somebody else, even somebody who's got higher qualifications, somebody who's universally loved by everybody. They've bought into you. And that's why this is such a great experience to create what you're doing right now, because you want the audiences to say, I don't want anybody else, I just want to work with Rebecca. And once you've created that relationship, then it's a case of building that great relationship with them, creating testimonials and evidence that you're great at what you do, and then asking those people by referral, who would you recommend to work with me? Who do you know would want that service? And once you do that, you can have a really good relationship and a really good business without necessarily having to send it out to everyone across the world and wonder why they're not responding back to you. So there we are. Any thoughts on that, Rebecca? Do you want to? You're just switching on and off again. Any thoughts on that?
No, I was only going to thank you for that. Thanks.
My pleasure. And it was a real honor to have you joining us on stage. And thanks for a brilliant question. And Romy, thank you for your input on that as well. Really appreciated. We've gone our hour. In fact, we've gone for like 1 hour and 10 minutes, which is more than we normally do. But it's been a really useful and fascinating conversation. Here's one thing I'll say. We do this every Sunday, unless I've got the challenge of flying, or in which case we'll do it on a Friday, but we do it every week. What tends to happen is, once we start the conversations going, then it really builds up. We get lots of people joining in, lots of people wanting to say stuff, but that's at the end. And it's a big bottleneck because we have to finish. If you've got a question, you can put it into the comment section if you don't want to speak on stage. If you want to ask us a question before we start, then you can do it, and I'll go for your question first. But do it at the beginning of the show, because that way we can guarantee that while you're buzzing and you're really excited, we can build you in, and you get less of me waffling and being told off by my missus and by Debbie, who by default is the voice piece of Aziza in many cases. Oh, your wife doesn't like that. I know, I can read it as well. So feel free to join us early, and we'd love to help you with any challenges and questions and things that you've got going on. So with that, there's a couple of things I'll say, which is, first of all, we'd love to have your comments on today's session. I think Debbie's had to go, unfortunately, but Debbie, thank you so much. She just disappeared. I'm now talking to her. She's not here. We'd love to have your thoughts on today's session. Questions, comments, thoughts about why the show worked for you. are really invaluable, because that means that people can see it and people then want to join us on future sessions. So I really do appreciate it if you can leave a comment for us in the comments section. There's a number of free elements there and a number of paid elements that we've got as well. If you want to join our membership or just join our free Turbocharge Your Career 5-day challenge group, it's free to join. Just click on the link, and if we see that you're not a serial killer, we'll ask you, well, what weapons do you? No, we won't. And we'll get you to join that. And we train people. We have a great community of about 400 decision makers around the world. But if you want to do more and work with us directly, there's a number of links in there that you can do. If you want to know more about how to become a business rock star, then just click on the link, register, and the business rock star is there. If you want to step up to the highest level of working with me directly to become an industry icon and be seen as the very best in your industry, then please feel free to apply with the industry icon link. It's an application form where you fill in a questionnaire about the things that you want from life, and we're able to look at it and find the best potential solution for you to be able to move you forward in the fastest possible time to get the best results. So that's all there in the comments section, and the rest of it is in the details of here where we are as well. As always, it's a pleasure having everybody in the group. It's a shame we only see you every once a week. If you're celebrating Eid, then Eid Mubarak. That's coming up very soon as well. If you're not celebrating Eid and you just finished Easter, then happy Easter that was, and be easy on the chocolate eggs. Or if you're just enjoying who you are, what you do, and you're enjoying life, then have an amazing, fruitful week. Life is too short to spend being upset, stressing yourself out, and wondering, why is it I don't have exactly what I want? Sometimes, like a fish swimming around the world, wondering, where's this water that everyone's talking about? You actually have everything you need, but you just haven't paid enough attention to it. That's where I would start. The answers and the questions are all inside you. Maybe you don't have to look too far, but just be a little bit kinder with yourself when you discover those answers. That was deep, wasn't it? I apologize for that in advance, but I will say that this has been recorded. We'll be sharing a full recording with you on YouTube. We'll be sharing it, first of all, with the people in our Turbocharge Your Career 5-day challenge group. And also, we'll be sharing it on the comments section once this video has been rendered in this post. So, on behalf of myself, Aziza, my wife, Debbie, who's joined us and disappeared, Hisham was on stage, Rebecca was on stage, Romy was on stage, and everybody else who wanted to join us on stage but was busy drinking coffee, chatting, relaxing, or maybe had a little bit of a sore throat and doesn't like to talk too much, all of which are great, valid excuses. I wish you an amazing weekend. Look forward to catching up with you soon. And remember my philosophy, jump and grow wings on the way down. Take calculated risks, but you have everything you need to be able to get exactly what you want. This is Speak on Stage. It's been a pleasure having you here. Thank you. Look after yourself, and goodbye.